This is a stimulus check update and daily news report. Got a lot of important news to share with you in this video. I'll give you the latest on the $15 minimum wage and how 26 states are going to raise their minimum wage. What's the latest with the increase of Social Security pay, and when can Social Security recipients expect to receive an increased check? Also about the student loans, AOC warning that time is running out in order to extend the student loan program. I'll give you the latest of what's going on with the Build Back Better, how Democrats had a meeting together and Joe Manchin actually joined that meeting. Also the latest stimulus check articles. I'll keep you updated on that and some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving $200 to my subscribers, and I'll talk more about that later on in the video. But first, here's where workers can earn a $15 per hour minimum wage. So federal minimum wage has been $7.25 per hour since 2009. In 2022, 26 states are slated to raise their minimum pay, and the moves come as some companies are also increasing their pay to attract workers. So this is going on. According to this, 26 states plan to raise their minimum wages in 2022, not necessarily up to $15 an hour. The highest rate will be $15 per hour in California and parts of New York, but no states are just raising it to $15 an hour right away. Also right here, saying besides California, New York, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Virginia, they'll join 50 localities at or on the way to $15 an hour, including Chicago, Minneapolis, and Washington, D.C. All told, by 2026, about 40% of U.S. workforce will be covered by the $15 minimum wage mandates. So that's what's going on with minimum wage. Next, with Social Security, when does the 2022 Social Security increase go into effect? So this isn't the promise that President Biden made where it's going to be $200 increase per month for all Social Security recipients. I tried to check his website. He actually took that page down, which he campaigned on and promised about the $200 increase for Social Security recipients. That is no longer there on the website. But when it comes to the COLA, which is a 5.9% increase, that goes into effect January. First checks are going to go out January 12th, of course, depending on when you were born. But that's when you can expect a 5.9% increase, which really isn't going to help, especially since inflation is over 6%. It doesn't seem to be going down. And as you know, if you're on Social Security, with increased COLA comes increased costs as well. Next, AOC urges Biden to use executive authority on student loan forgiveness, warns that time is running out after Manchin tanked the Build Back Better agenda. So it seems like on a weekly basis, Congress members, well, specifically Democrats, are trying to call on President Biden to cancel student loans for student loan forgiveness for federal student loan borrowers, but yet has yet to do so and has yet to address the issue, saying that he should do it through executive action. Still don't know if that's even possible. So what AOC said is Biden needs to lean on his executive authority now. He has been delaying and underutilizing it so far. There is an enormous amount he could do on climate, student debt, immigration, cannabis, health care, and more. And also said time is running out. We need to move and use alternative paths. So I mentioned before that Progressive Caucus leader Pramila Jayapal is trying to get President Biden to take some executive action when it comes to Build Back Better plan, or at least parts of it. But keep in mind, executive actions are temporary compared to legislative action. Also, Manchin joined Senate Democrats to discuss future of Build Back Better bill. So after that whole fiasco with Joe Manchin and saying that he's not going to vote for it, looks like Chuck Schumer has invited him to a meeting saying that things are still going to get done, wants to hear out Joe Manchin. So it looks like it was just a little spat and maybe things are back to how it was before. Take a look at this video clip explaining more.
Eamon, this is an on again, off again, on again, off again sort of situation that the president brought up again yesterday when he was talking COVID.
Yeah, and the president sort of made it sound a little bit like it was on again after everybody thought it was off again, but that's been the saga of this thing, Becky. You're absolutely right. There was some question last night about whether Senator Joe Manchin would even join this emergency conference call that Senate Democrats held with their own caucus last night to discuss the path forward. But we are told that Manchin did, in fact, join that conference call, even though he's been at odds with his fellow Democrats since he threatened to remove his support for the president's Build Back Better plan. On that call, we're told that Senator Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader and the majority leader, said that we're not giving up on this Build Back Better plan. He's vowed to bring that to the floor in the Senate next year. Schumer also citing Goldman Sachs and Moody's reports, talking about a downgraded GDP expectation if there is no Build Back Better plan next year, saying we have to do this for the economy. Meanwhile, as that's happening, and there are all these tensions between the Democrats and Senator Manchin, we also see Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, coming along and offering up some quotes to the media saying, look, we'd be happy to have Joe Manchin as a member of the Republican conference if he wants to come over here and join us. That could be awkward. It's an awkward fit for Manchin with the Democrats. Could be even more awkward with the Republicans just because Manchin voted to impeach President Trump, and that has become a litmus test issue on that side of the aisle. So maybe not so comfortable on either side, but McConnell making a bid for Manchin just yesterday. Meanwhile, the president, as we talked about, was asked about all of this yesterday. Here's how he expressed his optimism when he was talking to reporters. Take a listen.
Do you believe Senator Manchin kept his word to you? And how do you rebuild trust with progressives in your party to advance your legislation now?
You know, I told you before, you've heard me say this before, some people think maybe I'm not Irish because I don't hold a grudge. Look, I want to get things done. I still think there's a possibility of getting Build Back Better done.
Did Senator Manchin break his commitment to you?
Senator Manchin and I are going to get something done. Thank you.
So Biden saying he's not going to hold a grudge, despite the fact that a lot of Democrats do hold a grudge against Joe Manchin, and saying that he thinks he can work with Manchin and get something done. So Democrats sort of patching things up yesterday and into the night last night and expressing some optimism that they can get things done. It's not clear at all, guys, what the final deal that could pass in both houses actually looks like at this point. Back over to you.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Joe Manchin is going to get back to the negotiating table and it's going to be business as usual of him playing hard to get and leading on the Democrats? What are your thoughts on all that? Down in the comments below. I'll give you more on the Build Back Better updates. I just want to give you a quick stimulus update. So help is on the way. Massive child tax credit stimulus payment worth up to $1,800 coming to parents in 2022. So if you have a child that is 5 and under, you'll get that other half of the child tax credit, which will be $1,800. If you have a kid 6 to 17, you'll get $1,500, that other half that you're going to get in 2022. You may have to file a small tax return to get it. Once there's more information, I'll let you know. And check it out. Fourth stimulus check latest, nearly 3 million Americans signed petition for $2,000 payments as Omicron cases spike. I haven't really noticed it jump up too much. It's 12,000, a little less than 12,000 away from the 3 million mark. It might actually hit 3 million before the end of the year. So for the $2,000 per month to every American fourth stimulus check petition, currently at 2,988,000 signatures, and even if it does hit 3 million, there's still no Congress members or endorsements for a general fourth stimulus check. It seems like there may need to be something more serious happen before a general fourth stimulus check is issued, but a lot of different states and cities are giving out stimulus checks. Take a look at this last video clip giving an update on the Build Back Better bill.
A recipe for absolute destruction. That is how one Democrat in Congress is describing the road ahead for his party if they can't get past their differences and can't get beyond their anger at each other over the collapse of the Build Back Better bill. Democrats are fuming privately and publicly over the mess that's become the negotiations between Joe Manchin and the White House. CNN's Manu Raju has new reporting on this from Capitol Hill. He's joining us right now. Manu, trust over there among Democrats is in short supply once again, it seems. What are you hearing about how they move forward and if they can with this bill?
Yeah, trust deficit between the moderates and the progressives, really between the progressives and Joe Manchin, as well as between Manchin and the White House. Manchin, I'm told, was furious at the White House from last Thursday, a statement that came out from the White House that essentially blamed Manchin in part for not being able to get a pre-Christmas deal on the larger plan. Manchin believed he had an agreement essentially of sorts that they would continue to talk into the new year, and he didn't think that he would be explicitly called out by the president. So he went out and he criticized White House staff. One reason why he is in a mood that believes that this is essentially over. He doesn't think good faith in the talks can occur going forward. And progressives, meanwhile, say they cannot trust Joe Manchin. In a tense phone call yesterday, Manchin spoke with Pramila Jayapal, the Congressional Progressive Caucus chair, who essentially told her that she can't trust his word and they need to find other ways to move forward.
The only thing we have to trust, Wolf, around here is our word. And it's unfortunate that it seems we can't trust Senator Manchin's word. I said that to him. And look, he has a different characterization of things, but we have spent months waiting, negotiating, getting to an agreement, what we thought was an agreement.
So now the question is, can they get an agreement on a scaled-back plan? But Jayapal suggested perhaps instead go the administrative route, have executive actions going forward. Now, some other members of the Democratic caucus say instead they should recalibrate their strategy, try to come to an agreement on some targeted measures that could get Manchin and the progressives on board. One of those, Congressman Dean Phillips, who told me yesterday, if we continue to point fingers at one another and not recalibrate, that's a recipe for absolute destruction, referring to the 2022 midterms in which their prospects are already bleak. And tonight, Kate, Senate Democrats are going to actually have a special virtual caucus meeting to discuss all these different frustrations and concerns and potentially their path ahead. But one person who's unclear will actually attend is Joe Manchin.
Joining me now for more on this, what this year-end blow-up means for Joe Biden, his presidency now and next year. Evan Osnos, staff writer with The New Yorker, author of the biography Joe Biden, The Life, the Run, and What Matters Now, and CNN presidential historian Tim Naftali. Tim, we're going to come to you about zombies in just a second. But first, Evan, Biden talked about uniting the country. That he ran on uniting the country. He's now tasked with just trying to unite his own party is one of the kind of the themes we see throughout this negotiation. How does he do that? Can he?
In a way, I think that part of the challenge for him is that he was running at a time where being the anti-Trump was the defining element of his politics. And that was enough in a way to kind of paper over some of these deeper divides within his own party. And now as we get deeper into the term, these issues, the legislative demands, as you just heard from Jeff Zeleny, are getting complicated. We're down to the fine points. And so those kinds of differences within the party are kind of blowing up. And there was a time during the campaign, you remember, when AOC, in fact, said, look, if we were in another kind of political system, I wouldn't even be in the same sort of party with Joe Biden. That's how much ideological diversity there is. But what you heard in the last couple of days is that he is more or less willing to go back into the trenches, as is Joe Manchin, and try to figure out where do you go from here after you've blown up the latest attempt to try to reach a resolution.
And that is all the stimulus news that I have for you today. To hopefully brighten your day a bit, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, it's Bella tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do. Do the things that scare you the most, because after you do that, you become a better person. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your support. And I'm giving out $200, announcing the winners on the 26th. So you still have a couple days to sign up if you haven't already. Wanted to show you this. So we made this calendar, which I thought was pretty cool. So it has pictures of all the kids throughout the year. And I'll go through a few of these if you want to see it. So yeah, just for it corresponds with each month. So if this is what it was, February 2020, this was March of 2021. Sorry, 2021. And basically it's just all of the girls, which I thought was pretty cool. So we made that. Anyways, hopefully you have a great rest of your day. If you want to see my latest video from Wise Vibes, you could click this link up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.